Hey guys, this is Ben here and I teach you how to write Unity shaders from scratch. In today's video, we are going to create this particle erosion effect. As you can see, it is actually driven by the lifetime of the particle. We're going to use different types of particle properties to drive our shader. That is how we create this effect. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so the setup for this effect is very simple. As you can see here, we have a particle effect going on. All it's doing is emitting these quads. Going in an upwards fashion. We also have a brick texture applied to it. It's just for visual purposes. Now, let's kind of quickly go over the shader. As you can see, we have a main texture here, and it's just outputting the color directly onto screen. Now, so the very first thing we want to do for this effect to work is we need to pass the lifetime data from the particle to the particle shader. How do we do that? So under here we have the renderer. And as you can see here, we have something called custom vertex streams. Let's turn that on. Once we turn that on, as you can see, right now we are passing position, normal, color, and UV to the shader. We need to add one more thing. So we'll click the plus here. As you can see, under lifetime, we have something called age%. Let's turn that on. And now age% is going to be passed into the shader through what is called textchord0.z. Let me show you what that means. Our UV now is a float 4. By default, it is a float 2. I set it to float 4 so that we can access the Z component. Here in the vertex shader, what we need to do is do o.uv.z is equal to v.uv.z. That lets us pass this data into the fragment shader. To kind of quickly demonstrate exactly what's happening here, let's just multiply the final color into by i.uv.z. So i.uv.z. Once we do that, as you can see, it starts off at 0 because the timing begins at 0 and it goes to 1. Right? So that's why it's fading from black to a fully brick texture. Okay, so in order to start off the erosion effect, the first thing we need to do is bring in an erosion texture. Let's go ahead and create that right now. I'm going to call it erode text. And of course, we need to declare it here. So sampler 2D, erode text. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the erode text, just one of the values, perhaps the red channel, as a step function against our color. So our erosion, the cutoff is going to use the Z value, which, if you guys recall, is the age%, which is the time that it takes for this particle to finish. So it'll look something like this. I'm going to create a new value. We'll just call it cutoff. And we're going to assign that to i.uv.z. Right, so now we have our cutoff value. Next, we need a step value. So we're going to call it float step. And we're going to go straight into the erosion texture, or the erode text. We're going to use the exact same UVs as the X, Y. And step is just going to use the red channel. Next, we need to do our step function. So instead of actually calling it step, we'll call it erode. And I'll use the step function. If you guys recall, it's a step. We're going to use erode here. And we'll step it against our cutoff. We'll go ahead and return the erode without this i.uv.z. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Yeah, let's just return the erode in all channels just to see what it looks like. Let's assign a texture here, perhaps something cloudy like this. And there you go. As you can see, right now it's eroding, but not based on a value that we have created or a time, but it's eroding based on the time of the particle. Now, of course, in order to use this properly, we need to multiply it against our color. So let's go ahead and do col.rgb times erode And for the alpha, we're just going to put in 1. And there you go. As you can see, it's inverted. What we can do to fix that is 1 minus the erode. Yeah, so now we've inverted it. Okay, so now that we see that this is working, the next thing we want to do is add alpha blending. So under LOD 100, let's do blend. We'll just do a simple alpha blend, which is source alpha 1 minus source alpha. And here in our alpha, we're going to use erode. Nope, we're going to use 1 minus erode, my bad. And there you go. So as you can see, this is starting to work. What we're going to do is we're going to transform this into a much more complicated version of erosion. Now, I've already created a video in the past that kind of goes into the details of exactly how that works. But for now, I'm going to copy what I did in the past and bring it to this particular shader. All right, so as you can see, we have brought over the complicated version of the erosion shader. There's ember color, char color, and an ember boost. It kind of manipulates this effect. If you don't know exactly how this works, there's going to be a link to another video in the description below. It goes into detail of exactly what is going on here. But yeah, that is it for this particular video. As you can see, we are now using the age percent or the lifetime of the particle effect to drive the cutoff value so that we can get this effect. If you guys like what you see, please like, subscribe, and support my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.